So yesterday I posted this post to my YouTube community tab. So I've been watching a bunch of other YouTubers doing the answering very personal questions video, and I think I'm finally feeling brave enough to do my own. Ask me the most personal questions you can think of below, even if you think they will make me uncomfortable to answer. And in just one day, I got over 12,000 comments. I love you guys so much. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to answer every single one, so I skimmed through and tried to find the most reoccurring questions that you guys asked, and I'm going to try and answer as many as I can. And I'm very nervous because I've never talked about the majority of stuff that I'm gonna be answering today. Also, real quick before we start, we just had a restock finally of the Dexter plushies and just released the brand new Dexter Chibi Q calendars. The Dexter plushies last time sold out within a couple hours, so make sure to grab one if they're still around by the time you see this video. And a calendar, look how freaking cute. Okay, so the first question, why was 2019 not your year? So there was 3 big things all revolving around the same terrible thing that happened at the end of my year. One of them I mentioned in my We Need to Talk video. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it below. But I mentioned in that video that I had an uncle who was diagnosed with cancer and wasn't doing well. And by the end of 2019, he passed away. Right before that happened, my stepdad was seemingly out of nowhere diagnosed with tongue and lymph node cancer. When this video goes up, he actually just finished his treatments. We're all very hopeful that it worked, but we won't know until March. But he and my mom are legit the strongest people I know. And it's been really hard seeing and knowing that they've been going through this. And the third thing had to do with me personally. While my stepdad's going through treatments, I got scared because he was generally healthy, didn't smoke cigarettes, and the first sign of his cancer was that he had a swollen lymph node on his neck. So I decided to finally go to my doctor and get a swollen lymph node that's been on my neck for over a year checked out. Doctor didn't think it was anything to worry about, but decided to give me an ultrasound anyway. Was waiting for the results. I was at a YouTube event in New York City, and I get a call from my doctor telling me that I have several enlarged lymph nodes in my neck, and that he would like me to go see a specialist to make sure that I don't have lymphoma. For those of you who don't know what lymphoma is, it's a blood cancer. So my YouTube New York City little event was pretty much ruined for me, and so was most of December and the holidays. I went and saw an oncologist, which is a cancer doctor. I went to go see an ENT who specializes in ear, nose, and throat cancers. I got extra blood work taken, and at the end of all of that, they believe me to be okay. I still have to keep an eye on it and check them to make sure they don't get bigger. I have a follow-up ultrasound in April to make sure that they haven't changed or gotten bigger. After that, I should be in the clear, and because I'm not displaying symptoms and they haven't gotten huge by now, the doctors assured me that I'm fine. That was a really dark month, and on top of it, it was like prime YouTube video month, and I feel like I didn't get to do what I wanted to do that month on my channel. I don't know if you guys noticed in my videos that I was any different. I felt like I could kind of tell. I had good days where I would kind of forget about it, and then I'd have horrible days where I would spiral and Google all about lymphoma and the symptoms and find out, oh, but you don't need symptoms and you might still have it. Thanks, Google. Like, there was days I legit thought that I had cancer, and I was now going to have to figure out how to keep doing YouTube and living my life while going through treatments. It was not anything I would wish on anybody. But I wanted to talk about it because A, if you guys noticed I was any different from November to December, now you know why. And B, if anybody is ever or has ever gone through this, where they're being legitimately tested to see if they have cancer and all the stress and waiting that goes into that, you're not alone. I went through it right during the holiday season. It was great. I'm doing much better. I am anxiously waiting for my April appointment so I can finally get the all clear. But as far as 2 different cancer specialists told me, I'm fine. So I'm banking on that. Oh, that's a cute, lighthearted one. How old were you when you had your first kiss? I was 14. I think I had my first kiss like later than most people. It was in my first year of high school. And then even more uncomfortable, when did you lose your V card? When did you have your first time? I was just about 16. And I know everybody says this in retrospect, but I wish I waited. Even just like 1 more year. I feel I would have been a little bit more mature to make that very important decision. And I'm not gonna go into further detail on that because I don't want to get demonetized. One time in a video with Gloom, you mentioned that you were cheated on. Is there a story behind how you found out? I got asked this cheating question a lot because of this clip.
Lauren, have you ever been cheated on?
Yes, actually. Why did you bring back these memories?
I'm sorry.
I wasn't expecting it.
I thought you were gonna say no.
So the person I had my first kiss with in high school and my first time with in high school was also the person that cheated on me in high school. But yes, that was the only time I was cheated on. that I know of. It's actually a pretty bad story. So we went to homecoming together and he wanted me to go to a party afterwards with his friends. But because I was like 16 at the time, my mom would not allow me to go to the party afterwards, wanted me to come home because it was late. So he was mad and dropped me home and he went to the party and hooked up with another girl. And then continued to see the other girl for like a month afterwards while we were still together. And I found out because one of his best friends finally cracked and told me because I'm such a sweet person. And yeah, back in the day when it happened, I was legit devastated because it was like my first relationship ever. But from it, I learned, you know, the type of person you shouldn't date. And also lots of red flags, like girls commenting on his MySpace page saying they had fun hanging out. When I asked, he'd be like, oh, that's just a friend. Yeah, I found out he cheated on me with like a lot of people. A lot. And actually found out that when he first kissed me, he actually had another girlfriend that I didn't know about. So red flags, guys, red flags. And a bunch of people also asked if I had other boyfriends before Bobby. And yes, I had 2 serious boyfriends before Bobby and maybe dated like 2 or 3 guys that we were seeing if we wanted to actually like be exclusive and date, but then it didn't work out. So moving on now to Bobby. How did you and Bobby meet? We were interns at a television network, trying to fight for the same job. So we were coworkers for about a year, and then we started hanging out as friends after that year, and then slowly hanging out as friends turned into us dating. Ever wished you weren't with Bobby? I can safely say, no, I have never wished that I wasn't with Bobby. From the second we started dating, I think we both knew that we had found somebody pretty special. And even to this day, the whole time we've dated, for 4 years, we were fiancés for 1 year, we've been married for, it'll be 4 years this summer. Damn, we almost been together 10 years almost. But yeah, almost together 10 years. I have never once wished that I wasn't with Bobby. Even if we have like bickering or I get annoyed, like, we've never had a legitimate fight. We have like bickering, just like you would if you had a roommate, but like we communicate so well that there's never fights. I know it's like cliche when people say, I don't know what I would do without this other person, but like I legitimately don't know what I would do without him. I mean, don't marry somebody you don't want to be with. There's so many people that I see that are just like, don't want to be home with their spouse. Like, God, what is that like? I legit feel sad when he's not around. Is Bobby his full name? Yes. Bobby is actually his legal name. It's not Robert. It is Bobby. Now for the question that was asked the absolute most. Are you and Bobby having kids? When are you having kids? Because this is super personal honesty hour, I will say that I, for the majority of my life, have never really had an interest in having children. However, on the flip side of that, I have always wanted to have a family, like a close-knit unit that I can have adventures with and come home to. I think Bobby and I have been so focused on our relationship together and making that strong, and also making our YouTube career strong, that we kind of put having kids aside for a while. But lately, we have been talking about having kids. I don't want to say when. We have a plan in mind, but I'm not gonna say when. We're not trying to have kids right now, but I'm not saying when, because 1, I want it to be a surprise, and 2, having kids is way harder than a lot of people think that it is. Like, I have a lot of friends that it took up to a year to actually get pregnant. So I don't want the added pressure of being like, this is when we're hoping to have a kid, and then find out it's gonna be like a year later. So yes, we do want to have kids. The absolute max that I want is 2. I would love to have a boy and a girl. I feel like almost everybody wants that, but I don't care either way. The other question I got a lot was, are we gonna get any more pets and or a cat? We probably will never get a cat. Bobby is pretty allergic to cats, so sadly no cat, but we have been talking about getting another dog. So yes, eventually we will get another dog. I heard a long time ago you were Catholic, and I was wondering, what do you think about God and Jesus now? So yes, I was brought up Catholic. My whole family is Catholic. I don't know what to label myself. I don't go to church. I wouldn't consider myself a religious person. I'm not atheist. I guess I'd fall into agnostic. I don't know. But I personally believe that something is out there. However, it's something that us as humans will never be able to comprehend or understand. I feel like religion specifically is very, I don't know, man-made, if that makes sense. Like, it's very black and white. It's like, do this, don't do this. If you're good, you'll go to a good place. If you're bad, you'll go to a bad place. Like, it's very straightforward. It seems like people wrote it that thought this was what God wanted, rather than what God actually wants. And I totally get religion. I think that it makes a lot of people better, but I also think it makes a lot of people worse. For me personally, it didn't really help me. It didn't make me feel better about the world. It didn't help me be a better person. Like, I want to be a good person because I want to be a good person, not because I'm worried about going to hell. I don't know. I like things being mysterious. So I count myself as being like spiritual, and I have faith in the good in people and that there's something out there, but I wouldn't say I'm a religious person. Another question that I saw a lot. Are you part of the LGBTQ+? What's your sexual orientation? So the short answer is no. I don't consider myself a part of the LGBTQ+ community. I am of the belief that you are definitely born with your sexual orientation and that it is definitely a spectrum. So I personally, even from a very young age, have always been sexually attracted to men. I have never been in a relationship with a girl. I've never come close to being in a relationship with a girl. I look at it like this. I can see a girl and think that she's attractive, but I don't ever see a girl and find her sexually attractive. So like maybe if I was on the spectrum with like straight being here, I'd be like, here? Because I also know of some straight people that can't ever even fathom thinking that somebody of the same gender is even attractive. For a long time too, people thought I might be lesbian because my voice is a little bit deeper and I dress very, I don't know, tomboyish, I guess, and I like video games. But no, I would definitely categorize myself as being straight. So the other question is, what is your opinion on LGBTQ+? I would definitely say I am an ally. I think that's what I can call myself, an ally of LGBTQ+. I have absolutely no problem in who people want to love, what gender they identify as, basically any way you want to live your life. As long as it's not hurting anybody and you're happy, then I'm happy. I think the community is super important to making sure people who maybe don't have such a supportive family or friend life for being LGBTQ+ has a safe space to go and learn more about their community. I will say that not all LGBTQ+ people are the most understanding of non-LGBTQ+ people. Like, I try to learn as much as I can so that I'm more understanding, but every now and then I'll get yelled at for something. Instead of being educated, I'll get yelled at. So I guess I wish that more people in the LGBTQ+ community were a little bit more understanding of people who are still learning. Did you get picked on in school? If so, why, if there was a reason? I had it really rough when I was in middle school, was probably the worst. I used to get picked on because I developed early, and some of the popular girls and boys I found out were making fun of the fact that I had developed early, which didn't seem to be such a problem when I was in high school. But yeah, for the fact that I had braces, glasses, the fact that I liked things that other kids didn't like anime and video games and building computers. Well, who's laughing now? But yeah, middle school is probably the worst. High school, it got better, and toward the end of high school, I actually had a lot of friends from all different friend groups. I definitely wasn't considered one of the like popular kids, but I was definitely like social and friendly, and a decent amount of people knew who I was. Are you jealous of any of your YouTuber friends? I wouldn't say jealous. I would say in YouTube, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic. It's not, you're happy for your YouTube friends, especially if you're all kind of in the same circle, because it somewhat helps each other, if that makes sense, with suggested videos and similar content and things like that. So if one of your friends with similar content and you collab with a lot does really well, it usually kind of trickles down. And plus, they're your friend. You're super happy for them. On the flip side, sometimes when your channel is not doing as good, even though you feel like you're doing similar things, you kind of feel like you're not good enough. I see jealousy as like a hatred type thing. I don't have hatred when one of my friends, YouTube friends, or any friend does better than me. It's more of like why aren't I doing that good? Like, it comes back to me instead. How was your life as a kid, teenager? Did you struggle with something, or were there problems at home? I had a generally very nice and good kid and teenage years. I feel super fortunate that that was the case. I had a very loving mom and dad. The only real issue we had in our family was that my dad ended up passing from cancer, and we all had to go through that. But I think that made all of us a lot closer and stronger. Yeah, some of you asked if I have siblings. If you don't know, I have a sister named Christine. She actually has a YouTube channel. It'll be in the description below. She's my older sister. I have a younger brother named Ryan. I think he just has an Instagram right now. I'll link that. I'm still very close with both of them and love them very much. And then as far as my mom, what is it like having only your mom left? What a super sad way to write that. It gets weird sometimes. I think it made me and my mom so much closer. I'm so much more protective of her. I try to do whatever I'm able to do for her. She's basically like one of my best friends now. I text or call her whenever I need advice or help. I have fun when we visit or when she visits. I think it was harder when I was younger, when my mom was trying to take care of us as teenagers, and like we had friends who still had their dads, or every Father's Day I feel like it's weird. It's gotten better because now I have a stepdad to celebrate Father's Day with, and I have a father-in-law to celebrate Father's Day with. The wedding was hard. I'm sure when I have kids it's gonna be hard. It's just like a constant thing that's kind of there. So yeah, it gets better with time, but it never really gets better fully. How have your family and friends reacted to you becoming wealthy? Have you lost people because of it? So luckily, I have not lost people because of it. I think when YouTube took off for me, it was around the time when I started kind of making sure the people in my life were there for the right reasons and were positive influences in my life. So when YouTube took off, I still had those same solid friends and family members who are all still here. I think it's weird for them sometimes when we're out in public together and somebody recognizes me. Not weird in a bad way, but weird in like, what is happening? Because like to them, it's just me. I've been the same since they've known me. So it's weird seeing people freak out when they see me. If anything, I feel like us getting our new house kind of made my friends and family see that this job was actually a legit job. Whereas for a while they were either nervous for me or thought it would be gone in a year. But I've been pretty lucky that all of my friends and family have been super supportive of this job, of how well we're doing. What was the most embarrassing thing that happened to you in your childhood? I will never forget this one. It's like one of the only really embarrassing things I remember. I forget if I've ever talked about this. When I was maybe in elementary school, or like late elementary school, I went to go visit at my friend's house and we were laughing about something and I laughed so hard that I peed my pants. And I wasn't like young enough to be peeing my pants. I was definitely like maybe almost in middle school. And I freaked out and I went to the bathroom to try and figure out like how I could possibly not have my friend find out that I peed my pants from laughing so much. So I was like, okay, I'll put my pants in the sink to wash them and then I'll let them dry. But they were jeans, so I wasn't the smartest in realizing that, hey, it's gonna take a really long time for these to dry. I soaked my pants and realized it was gonna take way too long, and my friend was asking what I was doing in the bathroom. So I came out and I told my friend and her mom, who asked why my pants were soaked. I told them that I had filled the sink to try and prank my friend, didn't go into specifics, and said I had accidentally fallen into the sink that was full, and that's how my pants were wet. And they did not believe me. They pretended like they believed me, but they definitely knew what happened because anybody would know what happened. That's the most embarrassing thing I can think of. Ooh, another quick embarrassing one, which I think I said in my Draw My Life. I asked out a guy in like elementary school if he'd be my boyfriend with a note, and he wrote back yes. And I showed all my friends, we were all excited. And then he wrote me another note that he stuck in my locker like the next day. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna show my friends. It's probably something sweet. And I opened it and it said, hey, actually, I don't want to date you. I just said yes because I felt bad for you. Because he knew everybody was gonna see the note. And then everybody saw that follow-up note. So yay! What did you work as before you started doing YouTube full-time? I only put this in as a personal question because I've never actually said what I did, but I'll finally full out tell you what I used to do. But I used to work for the New York Knicks basketball team, and I was the assistant to the president of the New York Knicks, who was Phil Jackson. If you don't know who that is, you can Google his name. He is very well known and the nicest person ever, and I miss him very much. But yeah, that's what I did before YouTube took off. Did YouTube ever cause you to have anxiety? Have you ever had social anxiety? Did YouTube help with this? So yeah, YouTube is like the core of my anxiety. Like I had bad anxiety before YouTube, but I think it's gotten worse since YouTube's become my career. I'm constantly freaking out whenever numbers aren't as high or the same as they've been. If they go down, I'm like, oh my God, my channel's dying. I'm always wondering like when it's all gonna be over. What am I gonna do after YouTube? So yeah, constant anxiety of if I'm doing things right, do people still like me? Is this content gonna work? This content didn't work. People hate me. And social anxiety, I never really had social anxiety. I'm very introverted. Like I would rather be with a small, close group of friends than going out and meeting a bunch of people that I don't know. But YouTube definitely forces me to go out and meet a bunch of people that I don't know. So yeah, YouTube's definitely helped with that because it kind of forces you to network and meet other people. Are you happy with the direction your channel has gone in? Is there anything you would change about it if you had the chance? I'm pretty happy with the direction that the channel has gone in. I very much miss multi-part Let's Plays, but sadly YouTube as a whole just doesn't support that type of content anymore. That's why I've started doing that type of content as live streams. I have been live streaming a lot more on both a second YouTube live channel, which is linked in the description below, and on my Twitch every now and then. So make sure to follow those if you're into conversations like this. But I'm happy with the direction my channel has gone in because in the past like year and a half, as you guys have seen, I've transitioned more into personality-based content mixed with gaming content. And I think it made our community way stronger. I feel way more connected to you guys. I would never make a video like this if I didn't think you guys actually cared about me or my life. I've legitimately been enjoying the content I've been making. There's of course months where I don't really have any great ideas and I feel like I'm kind of pumping out stuff, but I'm trying not to do that anymore. Like if I just don't have great ideas, I'm trying not to upload. But yeah, generally I'm pretty happy with the direction that my channel has gone in. Do you really like making YouTube videos or are you just doing it for the money? I started making YouTube videos when I was making no money and had no intention of ever making money. I just thought it was fun. Now that it's my job, it's kind of this weird subsection where sometimes I don't feel like making content, but I also feel like I should make content because that's my job and my livelihood. But for the majority of my content, I'm making it because I like it. I feel like I'm in a good spot right now because I cut back my uploads. So the videos that you guys are seeing, for the majority of them, are ones that I'm actually really excited to make and enjoy making. So even though I might make more money if I uploaded more, I found this nice subsection where like I'm still making a living, but I only put out videos that I'm really happy and excited to make. Have I ever gotten to the point where YouTube felt too overwhelming that I decided to quit? Or you guys asked, will I ever quit YouTube? I have no plans to quit YouTube. Have there been times where I was too stressed out and too overwhelmed and thought maybe life would be easier if I had a normal 9-to-5 job? Yeah, but deep down, I know that I would never be anywhere near as happy in any other job than this one. I'll take the severe stress, anxiety, and overwhelmingness of trying to run it all over working for somebody else and not getting to be creative and make the kinds of content that I want. I know a lot of people get to a point where they start wanting to do, I don't know, more mainstream media and they see YouTube as like a stepping stone to that, but I honestly like YouTube more than I think I'd like any other mainstream media thing. I mean, I have plans to try and do things like maybe make a game someday, maybe write a book, but I think my main focus and main passion is always going to be trying to make YouTube content that both I like and you guys love. All right, this is probably gonna be the longest video ever, but if you sat through every single question and you are seeing me right now, make sure to leave a like before you go and let me know in the comments below because you are the real MVP. I love you. Also, if you're seeing me, subscribe if you haven't. You just sat through this long video about me and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And as always, I will see you guys soon.